Hello everybody. On January 7, 2025, the day began just like any other in Los Angeles. However, the clear blue sky quickly turned dark as thick smoke billowed from downtown. A massive fire erupted, engulfing skyscrapers and historic buildings, spreading uncontrollably. The roar of sirens and the sound of explosions echoed through the streets as thousands of people ran in panic, confused and disoriented. Los Angeles, a city known for its glamour and bright lights, was suddenly shrouded in darkness and devastation. Towering buildings that had once been symbols of the city were reduced to smoldering ruins. Busy shopping centers were now a sea of ashes. Homes in the city's crowded outskirts were not spared from the fire's wrath. Residents, trapped and desperate, struggled to survive, fleeing from the growing inferno, while firefighters battled relentlessly to contain the blaze. Amid the chaos, many felt helpless. Especially those who had long been marginalized, living in the shadows of poverty. The homeless, new immigrants, and other minority communities bore the brunt of this disaster. They lost their homes, their families were separated, and they didn't know where to turn for refuge. Yet, even in the midst of destruction, a light began to shine. The Muslim community of Los Angeles, long an integral part of the city, swiftly took action. They knew that in times like these, retreat was not an option. It was time to rise together. Imam Ahmed, the leader of Al-Ikhlas Mosque in South Los Angeles, immediately took decisive steps. Upon hearing of the spreading fire, he led his congregation to open the mosque's doors and turn it into a temporary shelter. "This is the time to show the true values of Islam," he said calmly but with unwavering confidence. "We must rebuild together, not just the physical city, but also our hearts." Al-Ikhlas Mosque, which had typically been a place of worship, quickly transformed into a hub for emergency aid. Volunteers, mostly Muslims from all over the city, came flooding in. They brought food, water, clothing, and medical supplies to distribute to the fire victims. The mosque, once solely a place for prayer, was now filled with hundreds of displaced people, both Muslim and non-Muslim. The fire victims, lost and with empty gazes, felt a sense of peace knowing that they were not alone. Elsewhere in the city, Al-Rida Mosque followed suit. Imam Omar, a passionate leader with an extensive network, immediately organized thousands of volunteers to help deliver aid to those on the front lines. "We are one big family, and in times like this, we must show that we can rely on one another," said Imam Omar to his congregation. With the fire still raging, the Muslim community of Los Angeles didn't just focus on physical aid. Amid the despair that hung over the city, they also provided emotional and spiritual support. The mosques began holding joint prayers, not only to seek safety but to strengthen the spirits of those who had lost everything. Imam Ahmed at Al-Ikhlas Mosque led the congregation in reflection and prayers together, saying, "This is a test for all of us. But we must remember, after the storm, there will always be a rainbow." Along with other communities, they organized fundraisers, set up makeshift shelters, and offered counseling to those traumatized by the fire. The presence of Muslims, full of compassion and humanity, brought comfort to the people of Los Angeles. Society began to feel a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. However, there were significant challenges to face. Security became a major concern. Social tensions began to rise, and many questioned who truly cared for the marginalized. Some remained skeptical of the Muslim community's role in the situation, fearing that they would either become a target or be misunderstood. Yet, what couldn't be denied was the fact that the Muslim community in Los Angeles, even in the face of great challenges, held fast to the values they believed in. They didn't just offer physical aid, but they also provided a new light in the darkness. What began as a struggle for survival turned into a powerful spiritual movement, with the mosques becoming places where people gathered not only for aid but for hope. Amid the ruins, Los Angeles began to rediscover itself. And who would have thought that in the heart of the flames, a community full of energy and compassion would plant the seeds of a rebirth that would forever change the face of this city? Although the fire had been extinguished, its scars left a deep mark on Los Angeles. Yet, the fire had sparked something greater, a revival that would heal not just the physical wounds of the city, but also unite broken hearts. The Muslim community of Los Angeles, who had long been a key part of the city, now found themselves playing a central role in the city's recovery. After the fire, the city needed more than just physical reconstruction. There was also the need for mental and spiritual healing to bring people together once again. The mosques, which had traditionally been places of worship, now became centers for recovery. They were not only providing shelter but also offering emotional and spiritual support to those affected by the disaster. At Al-Ikhlas Mosque, Imam Ahmed once again took a leading role. After successfully organizing emergency aid, he launched a much larger initiative. Along with religious leaders from all around the world, he organized a conference titled Rebuilding, Spirituality, Brotherhood, and Peace After the Disaster. The conference was not only for Muslims but also invited religious figures and community leaders from all faiths to join in planning for a better future for Los Angeles. The event was held in the heart of downtown, the area that had been devastated by the fire. But despite the rubble and damage, thousands gathered in hope. Religious leaders spoke about the importance of interfaith cooperation in overcoming disaster and building a more inclusive city. A powerful message was delivered: the city's revival wouldn't be achieved by merely rebuilding buildings, but by healing the relationships between its people. Imam Ahmed, with his calm yet powerful voice, addressed the crowd: "This disaster is not just about the fire that burned our buildings. It is about the fire that burned our hearts, our desire to help one another, our brotherhood as human beings." His words ignited the spirit of everyone present, showing how spiritual revival could lead to deeper, more meaningful changes than just physical repairs. Soon after the conference, Al-Rida Mosque, located in a safer area, became the largest hub for social activities in Los Angeles. Imam Omar, a passionate leader, continued his efforts to build bridges between communities. This mosque became the gathering point for fundraising and distribution of supplies for fire victims. At the same time, they also held various events to educate the public about Islam and the values of brotherhood that the Muslim community embraced. Every evening, after the evening prayer, the mosque became a space for discussions and exchange of ideas on how to improve the city, how to support each other, and how to respect differences. Los Angeles was slowly but surely becoming a destination for Muslims from across America. The ethnic and cultural diversity that had once felt fragmented now became an attraction for visitors. Mosques that had previously been isolated began holding joint events, such as an Islamic cultural festival, which not only attracted Muslims but also the general public interested in learning more about Islam. In the arts, a new phenomenon began to emerge. Muslim artists, who had previously been overlooked, now found a platform to express themselves. A renowned art exhibit titled Rising from Ashes was held at the Los Angeles Art Center, marking a turning point in how the public viewed Islam. The exhibit featured works from Muslim artists that captured the emotional aftermath of the disaster, loss, hope, and rebirth. One of the most famous paintings in the exhibit depicted a mosque that had been scarred by fire, yet stood tall, symbolizing that while the city may have been destroyed, its spirit remained strong. Young artists like Layla, a Palestinian painter living in Los Angeles, spoke about how she blended traditional Islamic elements with modern influences. This revival is not just about rebuilding buildings, but about rebuilding our identity as a community that supports one another, she said. Art is my way of speaking, of conveying hope through color and form. In the entertainment world, Hollywood, which had long been a hub of creativity, was now taking a greater interest in authentic and human-centered Muslim stories. Riz Ahmed, an actor and activist from the UK, came to Los Angeles to learn more about how the Muslim community in the city was dealing with the fire and its aftermath. In an interview, he said, "The revival of Los Angeles is a true example of how a community can rise from trauma. This is a story about spiritual strength that changes not just individuals but the entire city." Over time, Los Angeles began to gain international recognition as a city that not only recovered from a disaster but also became a dynamic center for religion and culture. The mosques in the city were no longer just places for prayer, they became centers for social, artistic, and educational activities. Los Angeles proved to the world that a city torn apart by flames could rise again, not only in terms of its physical structures but through the unity and spirit of its people. With a renewed sense of purpose, Los Angeles became a symbol of revival, a city rebuilt not only with bricks and mortar but with faith and love. The city, once known for its glitter and glamour, was now recognized for its unwavering spirit of brotherhood. Los Angeles had changed, not only in its physical form but in the hearts of its people.